Having selected your unit to be analyzed, in this case Odense, the model, in this case defined by the inputs and the outputs, 3 cost drivers, 1 cost type, you come to the central tab, which is the benchmark tab. You can also do classical key performance indicator analysis using this tab, as we explained in the previous video. But here you do the more advanced benchmarking. A benchmark is a combination of some other waterworks, in this case, in this data, that have been able to provide more of all the services. So we see here that my benchmark column here have higher values for all the services, all these outputs. So instead of 119, instead of 11,000 11 million cubic meters of water, this one is transporting 15 million cubic meters. Instead of having network length of 1,000, it has a network length of 1,300 and so on. So a benchmark is providing more of all the services at less cost. So instead of you spending 48 million, it's only spending 32 millions. This is giving you one benchmark, but there are many other potential benchmarks. If you say that you don't want to expand your services, you just want to reduce your cost, you can do that by pressing here on input proportional. And in this case, we will move all the saving potential to the input side. So now the benchmark has the same service levels as Odense have, but it's now saving quite a bit more. It's saving from 48 million down to 24 million. So it's basically saving close to 50% of all the costs. You can also say what is what if I wanted to be able to have more connections to this network, so what's the marginal cost of that? You can basically move this up. So now, right now it's 24,600,000, 24,696, and now I'm moving up the connections, and now we'll see how this value here is increased to 26 million, or close to 27 million. So in this way you can get an idea about the marginal cost of changing your service profile. If you're interested to know which unit you're being compared to, you can press the Show Peers unit down here, and then there will be an indication down here about the 2 units that form this benchmark, which in this case is Holstebro and Hjerting. They're both quite a bit smaller than Odense, but it's a combination of those 2 scaled up, possibly scaled up. And the reason it might be possibly scaled up is because I assume that smaller units might dominate larger units, based on this simple logic that you can add together small units. You could reorganize a big unit as a collection of smaller units. So in this way you can get an idea about who you've been compared to. Maybe you don't think this is a relevant comparison, so you want to eliminate one or some of these comparators. Maybe you think that Holstebro is not relevant for this comparison. You can basically click this, and then what will happen is that a new peer combination will show up, in this case Grænsted and Hjerting. You can now click this one also, and then you get rid of Hjerting also. Now you get 2 other towns that tend to dominate Odense. And the saving potentials become smaller and smaller, but nevertheless there are still some things to be learned. If you find this interesting, this comparison interesting, you might want to add a report here. And what will now happen is that the system will automatically generate a 7 to 8 page PDF or some other file, or you can also get it out in other file types, and you can collect that here from the report tab. But we'll return to that in a moment, in the next video. But this is the central tab, and you can play around with the assumptions you make by changing the return to scale. You can play around with the efficiency notion you use. And if in general, there's many options you can choose from, as you can see, if you want to understand it and interpret the results, you can, as always, press the question mark up here, and when you do so, you'll get a more detailed explanation of what you can do on exactly this tab. So here you will see explanations of, for example, what the return to scale assumptions means and what the comparators mean and so on. So in this way you have your central analysis done in the benchmark tab.